Great. So as I contemplated what to talk about today, I realized that this week is the week that we see freedom. And if I go way back to my schooling, back when we first learned about how our nation was created, then what I find is that there was a group of people, really a small group of people, who came together and they wanted to create something different. All that we had known at that point was we had known that empires ruled large masses. Even in Jesus' day, the Roman Empire was ruling the Israelites. And then in the time when our nation was created, England was ruling many empires, including this one. And so this small group of people came together and said, we want to do something different. They wanted to create something that had never been created before. They wanted to call it democracy. They wanted to create something where people had a voice, where we could be heard. And that was a completely new idea. And what was underlying, was under the foundation of this idea, was the idea of freedom. Our nation is facing some real challenges right now. And I don't know about you, but I feel like my life has been turned upside down in many ways. That things that I took for granted, I can't do. Things that I just always thought would be there, I don't have access to at this time. There's also the challenge of the social unrest that is going on right now. And that social unrest is calling us to come into a new idea, to come into a healing process. There are a few things that have molded my thinking this morning. The first one is Unity's definition in the revealing word of the word freedom. The second is a movie that I watched yesterday about the Dalai Lama and his life. And the third is the scriptures of Peter, Paul, and Mary. So beginning with the revealing word, it says, freedom, the quality or state of being without thought of restraint, bondage, limitation, or repression, having a sense of complete well-being. Without prayer and spiritual meditation, there can be no concept of spiritual freedom, and therefore no demonstration of it. It is gained only through spiritual development, in communion with God in the silence. Liberation from bondage comes as we seek first the perfect mind of Christ. That freedom is a quality or state of being without thought of restraint, bondage, limitation, or repression, having a complete sense of well-being. I really loved that. In the movie, the Dalai Lama said, inner peace is the most important thing for one's own well-being. and also to carry one's responsibility or one's work effectively. This well-being spoken of by the Dalai Lama is gained through meditation. It is about calming the mind in order to live at peace. And from this peace, making good choices. Peter says, live as free men, but do not use your freedom to cover up for evil. Live as servants of God. And Paul says, you are my brothers. You were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the sinful nature. Rather, serve one another in love. The entire law is summed up in a single command. Love your neighbor as yourself. The Gospel of Mary says, then Mary stood up and greeted them. She tenderly kissed them all and said, brothers and sisters, do not weep. Do not be distressed, nor be in doubt. For he has united us and made us true human beings. When Mary had said these things, she turned their hearts toward the good. These particular scriptures touched my heart because in unity we speak of meditation. We talk about meditation and the contemplation of an idea. It is one of our founding principles, prayer and meditation. But when we contemplate an idea, it's not about contemplating an idea and thinking that same old thought over and over and giving it more and more energy. When we contemplate an idea in meditation, we open up a space for a new idea to come in, for a new thought. Some of you have heard me talk about this before, about the three phases of mind. That we have superconscious mind, which is the omniscience, the divine intelligence, the wisdom that is God. And we have the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is all that we have ever experienced. And I want to expand that and say that it's all that we have ever experienced, not just us individually. But Charles Fillmore taught about race consciousness, and that we are affected by the thoughts of all. There is one mind. And those thoughts filter down into our conscious mind, which is our individual mind. The thoughts come in, and they come in through our emotions and our personal experiences and our perceptions, those things that we've been taught. One of the things that came to mind for me this week, excuse me, is the teaching that I heard from my parents. And the first time I ever talked about this from the platform, people were a little horrified. But I want to say that this teaching probably has affected each and every one of us in one way or another. And what this teaching is that when I was a little girl, my brother is a bit older than I am, and I overheard a conversation between him and my dad. And my brother was wanting to apply to different colleges. And my dad said to him, people like us don't go to college. That there was this ladder, and wherever you were on the ladder, That was your place. You were born into it, and that was that. Now, we know that that's not true. But how often in our own minds have we put someone higher on the ladder or lower on the ladder? We call it the ladder of success. And maybe those thoughts just cross our mind just for a blippy moment. But it's really about raised consciousness. So how do we shift? How do we gather together as a small community and make a difference? Create something brand new. Unity teaches us a number of ways to be able to make shifts in our own thinking that wipe away the cobwebs in our mind. Wipe away those old thoughts, those old beliefs, to make room for something new. One of those teachings is the power of denial and affirmation. And when I talk about denial, I'm not talking about denying a fact. I'm talking about denying that something has power over me. And how often when we have a thought and that thought comes in really strong, do we feel that we do not have the power to change our mind? We feel stuck in that thought. We feel right in that thought. And it creates a polarization. Because then whenever we talk to somebody else who has a different thought, it creates a polarization. So denial is about denying that that thought has power and opens us up to affirm a new thought. To affirm a truth that we want to hold on to. Something that is different than the thought that we were holding. We get these new thoughts by going into meditation and opening ourselves up in contemplation. Having a willing spirit. I love the daily word today. The will, the power of will. We enter into having a willing spirit to have our minds transformed, to learn something new. And in that opens the doorway to superconscious mind, and a new divine idea can come in. A new idea. Letting go of the old allows room for the new. But these cobwebs, I want to talk about the cobwebs for a moment. Those cobwebs that kind of clutter our mind. Affirmation and denial, yes, is one way to change the mind. But there are other ways too. One way is through singing. When we feel stuck in an energy, to put on some uplifting music and just sing. It shifts the energy. It shifts the mind. Maybe put some music on and dance your heart out. Just dance around the room. Or maybe it's artwork. Sitting down and getting the paints out and painting something. Or drawing something. It can be gardening. It can be taking a walk. It is anything that allows us to shift our attention away from the challenge, away from the cobwebs in our mind, and focus on God. Joel Goldsmith wrote a paper that Unity created a little booklet out of called The Golden Key. And the golden key comes down to one simple thing. No matter what challenge you're facing, you turn away from the challenge and you turn to God. Because in doing that, we shift our energy. And every time that we shift our energy and we allow space for a new idea to come in, we open up a space for new ideas to come in for everyone who is seeking new ideas. We are all interconnected. And the thoughts that I hold in my mind affect the global thought. And the thoughts that you hold in your mind about a person, about a situation, about yourself affect the global thought. We are responsible for what we think. Because what we think, what we hold in our mind, is what we will experience. We will outpicture that in our own lives. And so we want to be able to step into this freedom, true freedom. Because true freedom is having a clear mind. It's having an open space where we can truly listen to each other. One of the sayings that Jesus said often was, for those who have ears to hear, listen. And so we may just pray that our ears are opened and that we have the power within that to listen, to truly hear a new idea. We are in a time right now when we are being truly invited. The invitation has been given to each and every person to create a new idea about what life looks like right now. Now, I have to admit that as we were checking in before the service started today, I was saying that my energy is a little low. And so I too am engaging in this process. I'm engaging in this process to say, I don't want to affirm that my energy is low. I want a new idea. And I want to be able to act on that idea. I want to be able to act on that idea so that I feel vibrant and thriving and alive. And I know that there is a divine idea. And I am open and receptive to God's living spirit of truth that reveals and guides and supports all of us in our new ideas. We are never given an idea that we are not given the resources to bring that idea into form. No matter what the idea is, we're always supported fully to bring it into form. And so I do have a little homework assignment for you this week. I haven't given you homework in a long time, but I have a little homework assignment for you this week. I'd like you to experiment. I'd like you to experiment with ways to declutter your mind, to enter into that zone of openness. It may be listening to a guided meditation or a chant or doing a meditation, entering into the silence. It may be taking a walk or doing artwork, whatever it looks like for you. But I want you to try different ones. You might explore and just try something new. Allow for a new thought. And maybe something will come to you that is even different than anything that I have suggested. Try it. Allow yourself to enter into that space and open yourself in wisdom to the freedom that is available to all of us. It is the promise to live freely. God bless. So I do want to invite us in this moment to just take a breath. To take a sacred breath and to just bring ourselves fully present into our heart. Fully present to the divine presence that is all around us and within us. Opening ourselves to the divine intelligence. Inviting that divine intelligence to speak within our hearts. With each breath, we make more room. We make more room within our hearts. And as we connect in that divine presence, we allow ourselves to listen. To listen with the knowing that our ears are open and we have the capacity to hear. We listen with anticipation. If a question arises in our mind, we allow that question to be there. And we listen. And we breathe. Consciously breathing into this space. We know that as beloved children of God, we are guided and supported in all ways, always. And so we open our mind to new ideas coming in, possibilities. And we contemplate them and we bring them into fruition. That we may be the forerunners to living a life of true freedom. To living a life of true well-being. And so it is. Amen.